Hello, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to APPE TV live stream, episode number 2 of our current. We've started afresh, and this is going to happen every Thursday around about this time. So welcome to all of you. I'm joined, I'm not joined, my colleague Kyle is here with us as well. Say hi, Kyle.
Hello.
I'm not hearing you.
I have some echo here.
Okay.
Hi, I have a bit of echo here going on for some reason. I'll just sort that out. But hello, everyone. Welcome, Jim.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And that wasn't awkward at all. So what we're going... Technical issues. Listen, the thing with live streams is stuff happens. And it's our second one. You know, we'll get all of that sorted out. I'm sure Kyle will be back in momentarily. But in the meantime, welcome, Jim. It's really good to have you here. You're the Chief Executive Anarchist for Digital Anarchy, a well-known effects creation company. You design effects, create effects that help make lives of editors like myself, Kyle, and all our members here so much better. Things that people wouldn't have thought about. Not forgetting things like BeautyBox, Eff-It, SamuraiSharpen, a whole bunch of things.
SamuraiSharpen is awesome.
It is. But tell us a little bit.
Thanks for your patience, by the way.
Good. So tell us a little bit about digital. Who are Digital Anarchy? How long have you been going? What's your ethos, your story, your driving force?
So easy questions, right?
Yeah.
We've been around since 2001. We released our first plugin at NAB 2001. We originally were pretty much After Effects focused, doing motion graphics kind of oriented stuff. And then we had a brief dalliance with Photoshop, where we did Photoshop plugins exclusively for a little bit, and then came back to video plugins around 2010, and I've been doing mostly video editing centric plugins since then.
Cool.
So it's been a while. We've been, we are officially 25 years old at this point.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, NAB is technically our birthday, but we're no longer doing NAB, so that's enough.
Well, Jim, I got to say, we really appreciate all the support that you've given APPE over the years. It's been, I think, 16 years that the forum's been in operation, and 11 for me. Andrew, pretty close to that too, and you've always been a huge supporter of not only the forum but the editors too. I mean, you're always there helping when someone has a question, and transcriptive has been transformative for a lot of editors. You're well ahead of the game with that, giving us tools that Premiere only just have given us in the last year. Yeah. And we really appreciate all that you bring to us and make our lives easier. So
I think we love supporting the user groups and user forums and all that stuff. I mean, that's been part of our MO since the beginning. I ran a user group here in San Francisco for a long time. So we love talking to folks and kind of supporting people, and that's definitely one of the important things that DA does is we're all about helping people out.
I think what's really interesting.
So today we'll be sorry.
There's a bit of a delay for you, Carl. Sorry, mate. So I think what's really interesting is that all the different bits of software that we're going to be looking at: BeautyBox, FlickerFree, Eff-It, SamuraiSharpen, maybe even transcriptive, etc. All of those. You started doing things with each of these plugins that wasn't available at the time anywhere else, and you made our lives easier. And even now, with things, let's take transcriptive, there's still things it does that Premiere and other apps don't do. And I'm thinking also particularly of things like BeautyBox, which is just a staple for cleaning up stuff and making clients feel, can you make me look better? I look a bit, it just works, right? It just works. FlickerFree has saved many issues. So talk us through just quickly why you've chosen these particular apps and how you go about deciding to develop something and then deliver it.
It's a mix. Usually it's just paying attention. I mean, part of the reason that we're so into, supporting user groups and user forums is it's a great way of seeing what problems people are having. BeautyBox came out of a presentation that was given at the Motion Graphics LA user group way back in like 2008 or something, where somebody was talking about doing music videos and all the roto work that they had to do to make these 40-something rock stars look like they're and that, that was the original seed for it. And, we didn't have any great ideas right then, but BeautyBox is still used to this day, like on tons of music videos, because there's all these rock stars that don't want to look like they're, old.
And corporate, no doubt. Kyle.
Yeah, well, it's been incredible that all the amazing the tools. BeautyBox has saved my butt a few times, and what I love about it is that it's not just like it doesn't have to be pancake makeup. It can be as subtle as you want. Yeah. It's a huge difference. So today, what we're going to look at is BeautyBox, FlickerFree, SamuraiSharpen, Eff-It, and maybe a bit of transcriptive, because that's part of Eff-It, right? Yeah. Let's start with BeautyBox. Let's play that the BeautyBox sample first, and then we'll go into a demo, see how it works.
Yeah.
Whilst we're doing that, so when we get into the demo, you may want to just log out and jump back in again, Carl, because we're getting a really long delay between your sync is out. So let's
interesting.
play.
Okay, thank you. I'll sort that
Not a problem. So we've got a 32-second thing, and then I think Jim is going to give us a quick demo, as it were. Here we go. So as you can see, on the left we've got the original, and on the right we've got the BeautyBox version of this. It's got rid of all of the harsh lights, the whiteouts, the glare, and here we've got a music video.
This is actually FlickerFree, but same music video actually. But
yeah. So let's just so do you want to just bring up something on B? So let's start off with BeautyBox.
Let's start with BeautyBox and that exact clip actually, because it's just a great example of shine removal. When we shot this, this really had the lighting for this is really just one spotlight, and at the moment we didn't really realize how hot it looked on her forehead. And I mean, the music video was shot partially to highlight some of that, give us something to show in BeautyBox, but this was actually accidental. We didn't mean that hotspot to be so hot. But anyway, so BeautyBox shine removal, which is new in 6.0, really helps minimize those types of problems. And the way the whole thing works is you apply it. Let's actually reset everything. And then you click on Analyze Frame, and this is going to analyze the footage. It uses AI to do face detection. We're using face parsing to eliminate the eyes and mouth areas from the shine removal, because one of the things that BeautyBox 5 had a problem with was that it would get rid of the shine on her forehead, but then it would also de-shine her eyes and teeth, making them less, which is not what you want, because you want them to be shiny. So anyway, that was one big improvements to 6.0, was this. And you can see the difference if let's put this full screen. And so this looks a lot better than the original. Let me do it this way.
And you can dial up how much of that reduction you have,
Yeah,
right?
so let me, so you can see what the original looks like. And that's with it on, that's with it off.
Wow.
And so there's a pretty significant difference. You can dial it down if you think she is losing a little bit too much shine, like on her nose. It's making it pretty flat. And so we can set the shine reduction to say like 50, and that will bring a little bit of it back. Because I mean, you do want some shine there because you do have lights, and so you want some highlights, but you just don't want it to be quite as bright as and sharp as what the original had.
But and you could, if you wanted to, creatively remove almost all of that, right?
Yeah, I mean you can.
Yeah,
and we can crank this back up to 100. We can set the smoothing amount to a higher amount, like that, and then it really, takes it down.
Yeah.
And so it really just depends.
One of the things that I've really appreciated about BeautyBox. Sorry, is the sync better now?
No, but don't worry, we can hear you. You carry on.
Okay. It worked fine in prep. Okay, I was going to say one of the things that I appreciate the most about BeautyBox is simply that in today's audience, age isn't something to hide, right? It's part of being real and human, and this is with BeautyBox. You can be honest and still give a little of a bit of a tweak without being plastic, right? And other tools that I've seen would come out as plastic. And BeautyBox has an honesty and integrity to the person's individuality too.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I recently did a video shoot for a medical company where they had a very eminent GP being interviewed, a woman who's of a certain age, and we just got a couple of shots we did where the lighting did exactly this. It glared, but what she didn't want, and neither did I, to suddenly make her look 10 years younger, remove all the crinkles and the wrinkles, because that gave her authority. So just using the latest version, we were able just to dial down the shine, the shine we were getting from one of the lights, so that it was perfectly okay and it didn't interfere, didn't smooth out all the rest of her skin, etc. Curiously, once we did it, she said, well, can I just have a little? Just smooth, just around the neck. And it's kind of, yeah, we can do that. But
yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, video makes people look worse than they actually look in real life. And so part of the, because you've got bright, we don't normally walk around with like bright lights on us. And, especially if you're looking at yourself on a, 80-inch screen, your head, if it's a talking head on an 80-inch screen, your head's larger than real life. And so, you're just seeing all this detail that, you just don't see in real life. And so really, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, I mean, this is very clearly an isolated shot. I was doing this in a room where there was a lot of other things going on. There was a lot of other clutter, and we were, there wasn't any other people in the shot. And so we just dialed it in, and I thought I was going to have to do a whole bunch of masking, but I didn't. It worked out exactly what was going on, and I didn't end up with all sorts of weird artifacts in the rest of the shot, the backgrounds, computer screens and whatever. It just focused on her. I was just wondering, what other sort of applications? Have you used this in any other applications? Do you hear back from people about other ways they use this creatively or otherwise?
BeautyBox? No, not. I mean, mostly people are just using it to make talent look better. That is, whether it's, I mean, like, one of the places it gets used a lot on is, male CEOs or executives, because they don't want to put makeup on because they think they look just fine. And then they see themselves on an 80-inch screen and they're just like, oh, we need to fix this. So, it's, and, I mean, even, and especially in documentaries where people don't have lower budget stuff, where there's not a makeup artist and you're just filming real people talking about their experiences, We get used a lot on docs, just for that reason. Because video does make people look worse, and every zit that you have ever had in your entire life is going.
Oh, you noticed?
Yeah. So BeautyBox is from the get-go was not designed to not make people look like Barbie, but to really take the edge off of people that video kind of adds on, because you just see a lot more detail than you do in real life, usually.
You just said something really interesting there as well, which is for document makers. Once upon a time, using something, you're having to keyframe and mask and track and roto an entire documentary, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
This tool makes this level of treatment across a whole documentary really, really possible, not just possible, but actually something people use a lot. So you can use this a lot across a whole docu or a whole, either training or drama or whatever. It's very good for that. Kyle, do you use this for corporate as well?
Well, I've used it for documentary. Certainly, I've used it for some corporate as well. Most of the stuff that I have done, we have a makeup person on board. So, for me, what I've done mainly is that if I have to do an interview that's on, webcam or whatever, that you don't have control, it can really make a big difference. Or in reality situations where you just simply, the sunlight is too strong. That's a big one.
I think what's really funny as well, though, is I've had clients. I did a big project recently. That was very Sean Connery of me. Recently, I had a big project recently where a client asked lots of their clients to send video clips in filmed on mobiles, and we agreed, the frame of reference and to do it and what it was going to cost and everything, and all of these clips came in, and most of them were, had real problems. So I was woke stabilizing and applying this a lot where people's, the sun was just, and afterwards the client said, "Oh, so we didn't really need you then, did we?" It's going, what? We didn't need you because all this footage looks great. And I said, here's the original footage. Have a look at the original, then have a look at this. And they've come back since and said, oh, wow. So, yeah, it does make a difference. It really does make a difference. You just need to, apply it well. Have you any other thoughts, Kyle?
Yeah. I would like to move on to the next section, which would be. Well,
let's. Next one? It was. I'll tell you what we should do.
Because FlickerFree is in. Yeah.
You reminded me of this just before we came on air. That we are very graciously sponsored by Lucid Link. So I'm just trying to find where we've got that. I know it's here. So, overlays. Here we go. So, yeah, there we go. So our thanks go out to Lucid Link, who have been sponsoring us for a while, allowed us to afford to do all of the, get all of the infrastructure in place, and we're, they're supporting us, ongoing for the moment. But Kyle, did you want to make an announcement?
Well, Jim, again, thanks again for all your support over the years. And we have a new sponsor, Jim Tierney, Digital Anarchy. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. The group is 29,000 members, and we're trying to really to keep our content, viable and non-confrontational. We've like the other day, yesterday we had this discussion about Mac versus PC, and I was like, oh my god, well, guess what, our members didn't go down the rabbit hole of flame war. They just actually talked about the practical balance between value of Windows versus Mac. That culture has taken a long time to develop. And it's because of the help that we have from sponsors like Digital Anarchy and Lucid Link that we're able to actually dedicate time to cultivate that culture of respectful dialogue. And Jim, really, really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I'll point out that we were going to do this before I was a sponsor.
So,
this is not happening just because.
So let's just cover that off. We are not doing a show with Jim because he's decided to sponsor us. We approached him and said, look, now we're doing these new live streams. Yeah. You have some great workflows, and the group is all about workflows. Can we have you on the show and just have a chat about all the stuff you do and the different plugins? Because we think, you deserve it for being such a great supporter of the show and, being so present. And you have real interaction with users. But also, I think our members would love to hear about some of this stuff because they may not be familiar. And it was only following that, literally the last day or so, that Jim said, hey, look, do you want me to sponsor you? And we were like, what? So, listen, it's regardless, Jim is here doing this, and Digital Anarchy are sponsoring us as well as Lucid Link. So we just want to thank you for that. It wasn't necessary, but it's really cool that you have, and thank you, because it does help keep the lights open.
Well, you guys have been supporting us as well, and it goes both ways, right? Part of the reason I'm active in the forum is, you guys are nice to us and say nice things about us. And so, I'm happy to contribute. And, in this case, that means, where's the cake?
Where's the cake? I always have this thing about cake.
There is no cake.
It's cake.
Don't people know that by now?
Where's the cake?
No, there's always cake. There must be cake. There must be cake. Thank you, Richard.
That's
the
awesome.
cake is a lie.
Cake is a lie. It's a fallacy. It doesn't
Have you
work.
not played Portal? My God.
So listen, when we
just before we move on to the next thing,
go.
we'll just say, for those of you that need to know, sync's better now, right?
No,
rebooted.
There's still a massive delay. Don't worry, it's fine. You look pretty.
I'm not going to worry about it, but I'm not going to fix it now. I did the reboot. I've done what I can for the live show, and this is it.
Yeah.
We'll go with it. Okay, so here's the Digital Anarchy BeautyBox link. It's in the comments. Please take a look. FYI, Jim's been graciously offered a discount for our APPE members in the forum. So reach out to us, and we'll make sure you get that discount code. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah,
that's great that you're supporting the members too. So there's that. Now let's go on to FlickerFree, because FlickerFree is saved my bacon so many times. I tell you. Okay, so now FlickerFree, we get at least 8 posts a month, roughly, about something being a problem with Flickr. Now that could be flicker from fluorescence or sodium vapor. I had some footage at an industrial plant with sodium vapor lights, and I shot beautiful slow-mo, and it was just butchered with Flickr. And FlickerFree saved my bacon. So then with Time-Lapse too. Time-Lapse, we had perfect shots, gorgeous shots, done the way they're supposed to be shot, and it just sort of made everything equalize as a single shot, so it wasn't strobing. It's
LEDs.
So, Jim,
LED lighting as well is a real big. Everyone's using LED. You can see the LEDs here on this beastie just flickering away. They're distracting. And the light we use, sometimes you might have 5 or 6 or more different sources of flicker, including sunlight, including all sorts of things. And it's just, a quick announcement for the world at large. Taking a copy of the footage you want to deflicker, placing it on top and offsetting it by 1 frame and then adding 50% opacity does nothing. It doesn't work. You actually need to use this or whatever else. It just doesn't work. So
I got to say one thing more. HMI flicker from a ballast that was a ballast that was basically broken. And we got the footage back. It was high-level CEOs at a unique place we were never ever going to get back in, and it was embarrassing to say, hey, it's got some flicker, and we couldn't even see the flicker. It was only through forensic, like really working the footage, grading the footage, that's when we found out that the Flickr was really, a pain. And before FlickerFree was available to us. And it took forever to recreate those assets. And man, I wish I had FlickerFree back then. It was huge.
HMI usually does not flicker.
Yeah.
We have a question from Richard. How does FlickerFree work with Time-Lapse? Well, let's take a look at the thing. What I'm going to do here first is I'm just going to show you this present the share screen, and it is that one. Okay, so here we go, and add stage. Boop. All right, let me pull this off. Hide and add a stage.
We're getting used to all of this. So there we go. That's the wrong thing.
Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. So, yeah, how come Andrew? I've got the presentation screen up.
Yeah, while you're doing that, let me talk about Time-Lapse for a second. And this goes back to how we come up with the ideas for the plugins, because FlickerFree was originally designed for Time-Lapse because it's something I do a lot. I used to do it more than I do now, but at the time there wasn't really a good, if you're doing sunset or sunrise, you're going to have flicker because you've got to let the camera do something automatically to adjust for the lighting. And there just wasn't a good tool at the time to deflicker. And then I realized that I run a software company and maybe we can do something about that. And it turns out that my co-founder, who used to be at ILM, had developed a deflicker plugin way back when for ILM. I'm like, how did I not know this? And why is that not a product? So we originally designed it for Time-Lapse, and I didn't at the time. I'm like, well, it's, how many people are actually doing Time-Lapse? It's not going to be that big of a deal. But it came out. We released it right around the time the LED lights kind of started blowing up, and it was amazing timing because everybody had flicker problems, and FlickerFree, in addition to Time-Lapse, worked great on LED lights too. There's a whole bunch of types of flicker that I had no idea about that it just turned out to solve. So sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
So shall we play a quick video just showing some examples of this stuff? I've got a quick 30-second video, or minute-long video, which shows off FlickerFree, different things. I've done some work on this. So if I just run this, then we can take it from there. So let's just run this. It's a minute long. You can carry on talking over it. So slow-mo.
Yeah, so it deals with a lot of different types of flicker. I mean, slow motion is one big one. The LED lights is probably this type of thing where you've got these rolling bands going on.
That's great, man.
I mean, it's just and the funny thing about it is, if the worse the footage looks, usually the easier it is for FlickerFree to fix. The one area that it often doesn't work on is if the bands are very, very slow moving, if the camera and lights are just slightly out of sync. The latest version 3.0 actually gets a lot better at dealing with that, but it can still be a problem.
That's beautiful, man.
So it just works with a lot of different types of flicker, and it does a great job on it.
So, do you have FlickerFree to hand? Can you do a quick demo of that, the interface, or now I'm putting you on the spot.
Quite the ask. We put you on the spot.
Now I'm putting you on the spot.
Let me see what footage I have on this.
Quick check. How's the sync now? Is it back? Is it better?
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. Well done. Fantastic. What was it, out of interest?
It was the camera streaming tool that's connected to StreamYard. So basically, it's the iPhone tool with the had to be rebooted. Whatever.
Yeah.
It worked. Everything was working fine before the show started. Damn.
A lot of people are facing this. Well, we saw this issue we had last week as well with exactly this problem. So, it happens. It happens.
So, Jim, are you able to show us FlickerFree's
Yeah,
interface?
give me one.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Meanwhile, I'll just show the actual. Sorry, one second. I will show this. Okay, so FlickerFree, it's pretty amazing. You know, the site here. Jim's going to be doing is building a new website. So this is the. I guess in a week or two. So it's coming. It's en route, and
be launching this weekend.
All right, there we go. So let me just add this to the stage, and there we go.
Well done.
Yep.
So
thanks everyone for putting up with us. This is like our second show, really, and we're you're being patient with us. It all worked.
And of course, you guys told me I'd be demoing BeautyBox, but you didn't tell me that we would be demoing FlickerFree.
Yeah,
I know, we're brutal to you. We're so mean.
We're going to ask you to do the dance. We're going to ask you to do the dance and sing the whole musical version.
So with this footage, this is a great example of the rolling band problem.
Wow.
And one of the problems, this is something that we used for the FlickerFree 2.0 launch, because 1.0 didn't handle handheld cameras very well. And that's our demo dog.
Wow.
She's a super sweet pit mix. But yeah, so if I turn FlickerFree on, so
that's crazy.
It helps, but the motion compensation is something we added in 2.0. And you'll notice when I turn that on, if you look at the floor, it's not. Yeah, so there we go. So once the camera starts moving around, the original 1.0 version would start blurring out some of the details, and motion compensation really fixes that.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So if you look at that floor, it still keeps.
So is that the detail of the grain of the wood? Partly, yeah. Is it big? The finesse. So leaves would be something.
Well, so what's happening with FlickerFree is that we're looking at up to 40 frames of video to try and figure out what the correct luminance should be for every frame. So every frame that, in this case, the time rate is set to 8, so we're actually looking at 17 frames. But that can go up to like 40. And so that's for every single frame. So FlickerFree can be really slow, depending on how you have the settings set up, especially if you got motion compensation on and you're looking at 40 frames, and it can be a thing. But
so just to cover that off, if it's a locked off shot, you don't want to be ticking motion compensation.
Well, it depends, right? So it depends. Like if you're filming a dancer, then you probably do. If it's just a talking head, you probably don't need motion compensation on, and it'll be faster if you have it turned off. Like if I turn this off, and I click on the right window, it's pretty much real time rendering right now.
Wow.
But
I have a question.
Turn it on, then it's a little bit chunkier.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Not that I ever want to think of interlaced footage ever in my life again, but progressive versus interlace. Does interlace make a difference?
It shouldn't. Not really.
So it does work with interlaced footage?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sweet. I got to say, one of the times that FlickerFree saved my bacon as well was I had long before we had Zoom meetings, I had done an international, basically a whole bunch of interviews from around the world, and we couldn't afford to fly over there to do the interviews, so we were doing screen capture Camtasia interviews, right? Yep. And Camtasia's codec was just brutal. Like it looked okay, but when we created ProRes files instead of H.264 or the proprietary codec that they had, because we needed to edit with them, it introduced a huge amount of flicker. And FlickerFree, again, saved my bacon. Like I could not have used the assets because of the strobing of the fluorescence, which we didn't see in the original. But when we transcoded to ProRes from H.264, it became more pronounced.
And that's, I mean, we tend to, much the same as you, when we're doing any kind of VFX treatment, we just convert everything to ProRes or DN times HT, usually ProRes.
Richard had this question too, by the way.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll do it one more time. We'll talk about it one more time. Yeah. So, does it work with time-lapse? The answer is yes. Do you want to tell us some more about that, Jim?
Yeah, Jim, do you have a time-lapse shot? Sort of put you on the spot.
Yeah, let me
Thought you might.
see what I got.
Thanks for rolling with it.
Yeah, of course. Let's do this.
Oh, it's so much easier to communicate when there's not a lag. Oh, jeez.
I know what you mean. It's wonderful. Where's my cake?
At least you're consistent.
Yeah.
So this is a time lapse of the Golden Gate at sunset, and you can see that we've got a lot of flicker because the aperture is automatically adjusting, or not the shutter speed is automatically adjusting to as the sun goes down.
Wow.
Because we want this whole day to night thing going on, and if everything's locked, if the shutter speed and aperture are locked off, then you're just going to have it go to black at some point if you don't have it do something automatically. And so, and again, FlickerFree was originally designed for this, and it used to default to time-lapse as the initial preset, and it still does a great job on it.
That's real time.
That's real time. You don't have to have motion compensation on because nothing's moving that fast.
That's some serious magic, man. So it must be caching the frames in advance. How does it? Why do you do that? That's crazy.
Yeah. So again, we're looking at like 20 frames, 10 frame, or in this case 8 frames back, 8 frames forward, and then we're doing an analysis on those frames to figure out like what is the right luminance for this. To make it kind of sync with all the other frames, and that's what we do.
So just show us on the controls there once you've got it in place. So we can see there we've got the time radius, which is 8 frames, as you say, but you can change that up or down. The more you add, then the longer it will take. So
yeah, time radius now goes up to 19. It used to max out at 10. If you're going to do like 19, you need a pretty beefy GPU because, again, we're loading 19 frames before the current frame, 19 frames after the current frame, and the current frame. And you're talking about loading 40 frames onto the GPU for every frame that you're rendering. So that does bump up the memory requirement. So if you can get away with less, that's better. So 8 or 10 is better. The time step.
Just a quick question on frames. H.264 long group of pictures versus ProRes. So ProRes is a frame. You're caching. If you say cache 10 frames there, it's caching 10. But if you're talking a long group of pictures asset, every frame relies on other frames to create that frame. So does that impact the speed performance? Because I see it's an MOV file that you have in there.
Yeah, possibly. Do you know what formats do that?
H.264 long group of pictures, basically. It'd be,
right.
Acquisition codecs, like, for cameras often have that because, like drone foot shots will have a,
So essentially, MP4, where you have H.264 or H.265, to make the file sizes smaller, it compresses across a series of frames. So it's continuous compression. So it's a group of frames that's compressed to get the best, to lower the data rate.
The concept is also that they don't change the pixel unless it has to. That's how it gets the file smaller.
Right.
Yeah.
But usually that's baked into, at least when we get it through Premiere. It should already be baked into the image that we get. It does, like with drone footage, you do get GOP flicker. And I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it on this, but...
Oh, you don't have to go there. I was just curious. I would anticipate that it's probably better to use like an intermediate stable codec in order to do flicker reduction. Now, what about still sequences? Because most of us doing time lapse would use to create a still sequence.
Yeah, so like when you import the still sequence into Premiere or After Effects or whatever you're using, it comes in as a video file. So us as a plugin, we just see the video file. It doesn't make a difference. The only thing I would say with that is that you want to apply FlickerFree at the resolution that you're going to deliver at. Don't bring in like a 8,000 by 4,000 pixel image, or whatever it is, and apply it to that and then down res, because now it's just going to take a lot longer to render.
Yeah.
And if you're delivering at 4K, bring in the image sequence, drop it into a 4K comp, and then apply FlickerFree to the 4K comp.
Or you can do the same with nesting, right?
Right. So that's After Effects, but for Premiere it'd be nesting. Right? So so I would take my 8K sequence, drop it into a 4K sequence, and then apply FlickerFree to that 4K nested sequence. And that way you're not applying it to pixels that you don't
need. Yeah.
Right. So that's just going to slow it down. It's going to take more memory on the GPU, which may cause the GPU to fail if you don't have a ton of RAM on it. So you do want to be mindful of how you're using FlickerFree, because it can eat up a lot of RAM.
Mm-hmm. And that's the same with most really good. VFX use a lot of VRAM, so you just have to optimize. You just have to get used to that workflow, and it becomes really simple once you get into it. For the most part, though, honestly, FlickerFree just does the most remarkable job. So you were telling us about the control. So you were about to tell us what time step is.
Oh, time step. Yeah. So time step in this case, it tells you how many frames to skip, and so this is a really useful tool in keeping that memory footprint down, because I could take this 8 and set it to 16 so that I have 16 frames before and after, 16 frames before and after, but I could also just set time step to 2, and that will look at all 16 frames back, 16 frames forward, but just using every other frame, so that you don't have to, you can still get the same time range, but you don't need all of those additional frames. You're going like every other frame.
Cool.
And if I do like say 3, then it's every third frame.
It's like keyframing, like in when they encode codecs.
Right,
It's like a keyframe for a codec.
But in this case, we're just completely skipping over the frames. We're going from like 910 to 913 to 916, 919, and grabbing those frames instead of grabbing every single frame. So it allows you to look at, if you want to have it analyze like 2 seconds back and 2 seconds forward, you can do that without having to load all of the frames for those 2 seconds.
That makes perfect sense. So
if you have really slow flicker, so this is what I was talking about with the fact that 3.0 handles some slow moving bands better than 2.0 did, and this is why, is that time step radius. I mean, also the longer time radius of 19, but time step also allows you to look at a longer amount of time. So if you have very slow moving bands, they're just kind of slowly moving up the screen. You want to be able to look at that longer time range. If it's fast flicker like we have with the time lapse or with the dog footage, where it's really flickering, you don't really need to worry about time step.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So a quick question, another question from Richard, who's being very, he's come up with some great things here. So yeah, do you have a plugin to fix photography flashes? I wish.
We do not, and it really screws up FlickerFree.
Yeah.
If you're deflickering like wedding shots and there's people taking photos with the flash, it really screws up what it's trying to do, figuring out the right luminance. The flashes can definitely wreak havoc, and we don't have a good.
That's a great question, Richard. I think that's definitely worth a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worth a T-shirt. So listen, where we've been chewing the fat here for a while. We've got about 15 minutes left. Yeah. There are some other things you do as well. There are some other things.
This one, ready? Here goes.
Which one are you going to bring up?
Okay. Well, we're going to go move on to Eff-It.
Yeah.
All right. Now, so here's the Eff-It, which is part of the transcriptive software. Yeah. Transcriptive, was you could text edit, force text edit, video cuts. Use text to cut video 5 years ago. It was brilliant. It is brilliant. You can have there's a portal for transcriptors where you can have a client go and change the transcripts and everything. You guys are well ahead of the game, and compared to others. And then out of transcriptive came this little gem, Eff-It. What the F is Eff-It?
Shall I play a quick video for this, because you've got a really, really cool. Just bear with me. I'm going to play a video. It's only 57 seconds. Let's just play this.
If you're offended easily, just plug your ears, because it can be very offensive.
Do you have a cat that curses?
Who sleeps until 10:30? Who does that?
Do not be ashamed. You are not alone. Cursing cats are a more common problem than you might realize.
I don't give a shit when you have to be at work. Where's my fucking breakfast?
But there is hope. Digital Anarchy's Eff-It can help make your cat videos clean again. Eff-It for Premiere Pro automatically bleeps out curse words by analyzing the transcript and inserting bleeps into your sequence.
It's about time. Who sleeps until 10:30? Who does that? I don't give a shit when you have to be at work. Where's my fucking breakfast? Get your ass on it. Yes, you are my. Get me a pot pie, or at least some wet food. Come on, get moving.
It's the perfect cure for your cursing cat.
Get your ass on it.
That's possibly the best video I've ever done.
That's a lot of fun. But seriously, this is a great tool. This is a really good tool. I know that lots of E&G use this where they have stuff sent in and they just, they don't want to. So that they'll use it for that, for live events, for all sorts of things where you are going to do a version of it afterwards. And you just, you've interviewed someone and you don't want to sit there and go through every single thing. It works. It's a really, really good tool. So tell us about why and how did this come about, Jim?
We were just looking for, other uses for the transcriptive technology. And we actually had somebody request that, ask us if, transcriptive would do that. And by default, it didn't really have that functionality in terms of being able to set the words and, add in the bleeps. And so we just did this kind of special tool for, that has the bleeps and gives you a list of curse words that you can bleep out. And then just automatically goes through the transcript and just kind of adds in bleeps into your Premiere sequence, where the curse words are. And then, you can tell it to bleep, put asterisks in the transcript if that's what you want. But but it's just a common thing for like YouTube of needing needing things to be bleeped, and it can be pretty tedious if you have somebody on your thing that's fucking cursing all the fucking time.
So what about other languages or dialects? So if I was doing a wee Scottish accent, would you be able to pick that up, you henny?
It depends, right? So like the curse word list can be in any language. So it absolutely, we have, Carla, who you may have met, is Brazilian. And so we went through, in Portuguese, and that works. And the problem with a Scottish accent is going to be like, does the AI generate the transcript correctly? If the words are in there, Eff-It has no problem. But if the AI is like, we don't know what the fuck this person's saying, then
it's only as good as the transcription.
Yes,
the transcription
model you're using. You can't speak English, then I don't know.
For those that you want to watch that cat video again, that aren't too sensitive to swearing, it's in the comments. You can click on the link. There it is. Feel free to watch it again.
And this is part of the special deal that Jim's doing for the group. So just hit us up on the group. We'll work out the information on the group itself, but hit us up. We'll get you the code or whatever it is that we're going to be doing, and you get a discount. What was the discount you're offering this time round, Jim?
It's 25% off.
Wow.
So you can do APPE 25. And I need to make that. Don't go do it right now because it's not live.
Yeah, well, later in a few days we're gonna have it ready. We'll make an announcement.
It'll be ready after I get off of this. But okay, but I forgot to make it live.
So for anyone that wants it, APPE 25.
Yeah, and then now 25% off.
I'll just show this. This is how to use it, by the way.
And Richard had another question. We will be at IBC. We don't have a booth there, but we will be wandering around causing trouble.
I may be there as well, so I may see you.
Yeah, I'll bring you a shirt too, since you were complaining
about
cool. We will bring all the shirts.
So listen, we are getting close to running out of time here, but
one of my favorites is coming.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how much this has saved my life so many times. I'm just going to play a quick vid, then we're going to get straight into SamuraiSharpen. Look at this.
Now, I got to say that in Photoshop, all the years I've always sharpened eyes and kept the face skin tones beautiful. And Jim, you've brought that to video. Wow.
Yeah, Samurai has a lot of controls in it for really dialing in what you want. So it's a little bit different than some of the AI plugins that are kind of like, applying it to the entire image. The downside to that is there's a lot of control and a lot of, controls in there, but, there is a little bit of a learning curve for it. But once you figure out what's going on with it, it can be a really powerful tool for just dialing in a little bit of sharpening in specific areas, as opposed to, just the entire image.
And I think that's what I've done. I've used this a lot. I mean, it's become a kind of one of those go-to tools. I've got, so I've got Topaz and all of those kinds of things, but those are all offline. You have to rent. It takes forever. This is it just adds something really subtle, or as you can dial it up if you wish, but it makes a huge difference to the clarity and just giving focus. You can give focus to the area of the picture you want, or it just has a way of bringing things, your focal point, the point of the tension, brings it forward, and it does it in a really delightfully complementary way for the image. Sorry, go on, Kyle.
Well, just that the difference between SamuraiSharpen and other tools is that you can select precisely what part of the picture you want to sharpen, and not have to do the whole thing. That's what makes it different. That's steps that makes it leaps ahead of other offerings. So, I love it, particularly for eyes. I mean, I have in video track masked the eyes so that I could create a BeautyBox filter but keep the eyes clean. Basically you get the idea, but,
by the way,
yeah. Go ahead.
By the way, when I'm using it, it's running in real time. So tell us a bit more about, we've given our idea of what we think it is. Tell us from your point of view, what is Samurai? What does it do best? What's it for?
Well, what we really designed it to do.
Sorry, my bad.
One of the really important aspects of it is not sharpening noise. And so being able to, identify the darker areas of the image where, noise usually lives, and not sharpening those areas. And so that's what a lot of the controls are all about, is just allowing you to, dial in the edges that, are in the image, which is really what you want to be sharpening, right? And not kind of just like the low contrast, noisy areas. And so I think that's one of the really strong points of it, is just being able, like Kyle was saying, like dial in like kind of what you want, the areas that you want to sharpen, but it's really more about avoiding the areas you don't want to sharpen. And that's where a lot
because that's a real pain. Mostly sharpening, it sharpens everything unless you build a mask, and then you have to feather it and do all that stuff, and it becomes really obvious. And I think what's really good about this is exactly that. It doesn't try to sharpen noise, so you don't it ignores the noise, and it's looking for the edges, and it's looking for the appropriate visible places to sharpen, and it does a fantastically good job at that. Do you use it much, Kyle?
I have not used it much. I have tested it because Jim, gave us, the opportunity to work with the licenses. Thank you very much. So we could, be confident that what we recommend to our users is a solid offering, right? Because we don't. Just so you know, I couldn't find the freebie license you gave us, years ago. So I've needed them in this last year or two, and I just bought them again. I got in touch with you and said, how? And I just bought them, because guess what? They have saved me so much time. Yeah.
And they've become, so BeautyBox,
it's worth it.
Sharpen, FlickerFree. I use them all the time. I just know they've got my back.
Yeah.
It's got my back,
and the cost,
really cool.
it's not really, let's talk cost, because editors, especially independents, everybody's concerned about budget. I mean, Jim, I don't know how you do it, but you aren't charging a lot for something that actually saves a huge amount of coin in process. Like if you were to do this stuff manually, it's a day's work that you can do in 10 minutes. That's crazy. So let's talk price for a bit, just for fun.
Most of the stuff ranges from $99 to $199. So we try to make it relatively affordable for professionals. We obviously get lots of complaints about the price from the TikTok crowd, but they're sorry.
Yeah,
one of the things
you're a small team, and you have to keep the mouths fed, and the tools you provide. Yeah. Honestly, every single one of the tools I've bought from you has paid for itself within the day that I've bought it, in terms of the time saved. I mean, within a day or 2 days. Yeah.
2-3 hours of work, and it's paid for.
It's paid for itself. But I understand, some people don't like paying a lot of money. That's fine. Go and use the other tools. It's entirely up to you.
I mean,
but I haven't done subscription either. You're like, when you buy it, you own it, right?
Yes. I mean, we do have a subscription option if that's what you want, where you get all the plugins for like $150 a year. But
what? That's great.
Yeah. But we understand a lot of people don't like subscriptions, including me.
Yeah.
Like kind of hate them. And so, you know, we will always offer the perpetual licenses. I mean, the downside of the perpetual licenses is that you have to pay for upgrades because, you know, it takes work to do this stuff. But, you know, usually we go a few years between versions.
And you can, as a user, you can choose whether or not you need the new set of features that come with the upgrades. Yeah, generally everything you do always adds just something in there that I really need. So it's cool. But I know that I did an upgrade for a couple of times on BeautyBox because it just I didn't, you know, I was able to do what I needed to, but I have upgraded it. So listen, I think this is all good.
I just wanted to hit that note on subscriptions versus you know, perpetual licenses. Here's the reality for that. Over the years, you know, I've been in production for like 30 plus years, and I've seen companies go under because what happens is that they have a full user base. They keep on selling licenses, and pretty soon they've got this massive amount of users and less revenue coming in to keep up with tech disruption, new GPUs, new processors, you know, M series Macs, you know, and so, you know, I think that one of the things that we as operators need to, you know, as artists need to understand is that these tools require some cash flow in order to keep on top of all of the new tech that's coming out. If you want it fast, if you want, you know, it's really important. So, Jim, I know that you're you don't, because you're a digital anarchy. You're like, no, I own it. I love your spirit on this. And one thing I will say in closing too about this is that I know that whatever you've ever said on the forum, in your blog, you are not afraid to speak truth.
Yeah.
Like you say it like it is, and it's refreshing. You know, there's no spin. You're real, man.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and you know, we have to eat, so I mean, that's why, you know, the subscriptions are fine, like whatever, right? You know, that's what companies want to do. That's whatever. I mean, but you know, but if not, then you're going to have to pay for upgrades when they happen because it takes time and effort to keep these things developed. And, you know, like we don't want to force people to do it, but, you know, if you want something that's new, and sometimes that means, oh, Apple came out with another processor and we have to rewrite the thing again. Guess what? You're probably going to have to pay for that because we had to like invest a ton of time like rewriting the plugins. And it sucks because we would rather charge people for features instead of just like, you know, rewriting it for the silicon chips.
And what's clearly evident from all of this, we've known you for years through the group, and you know, for the support. And by supporting the group, I don't mean you've given us lots of bits. You've been there answering questions, and you participate in so many other groups. And I think it's, you know, what's really clear is you listen to users' voices. You develop tools for them, sometimes suggested by them, and you know what their issues are. So having a pay once, it's yours, it's owned once you pay, as well as subscription. You know, clearly you've been listening. I can only thank you for being here today with us. I'm sure this won't be the last time we'll see you. I hope not, anyway. And I think we're just about near the end of the show. We're going to stop shortly. Thank you, Eric, by the way. Kyle, over to you, mate. Anything to close up with?
I'm just going to add in the last final link, which is Digital Anarchist link. It's in the comments again and showing it up on the screen. Bink.
Cool.
So
I just have one last thing.
Yeah, of course.
About Kyle brought up masking out eyes, and one of the things that we did with shine removal that I was talking about earlier is that the shine actually.
Do you want me to show this?
Yeah.
Okay, so perfect.
Switch over to. You know, one of the things that we did get AI to do for us is it'll mask out, or it'll identify the eye and mouth areas.
Is this BeautyBox?
This is BeautyBox.
Yeah. Here, I'm just going to
put it in
just so we know where it is.
So it's automatically parsing the face and figuring out where the eyes and the mouth are. And in this case, we're removing that from the shine mask. so that again the eyes and the teeth aren't getting de-shined. But that is going to get rolled into probably BeautyBox, the main plugin as well, and also stuff like SamuraiSharpen. So we're definitely trying to find good uses for AI that definitely add to the effect. And,
that's really cool. That's
so
really
those
cool.
are some of the upgrades that are probably coming to some. That type of technology is also coming to some of the other filters. So anyways,
Cool.
some up and coming stuff.
That's really cool. Well, doubtless once you start putting them into some of the other things, we'll make some announcements. We'll revisit this, I'm sure, and we'd love to have you on again, Jim. You're
awesome.
You're almost as pretty as Carl, but not quite. Carl, what do you think he's as pretty as you?
Well, I used to have hair like Jim, but that was a long time ago. Jim, you're still sporting the cool. I mean, you basically. But I will say, at the end of the show here, I got to do one last sort of like thing. I got my Digital Anarchy shirt on. I love you, brother. Yeah, and so we'll figure out who's.
Oh, no.
I have to say, Richard's got to be the one. You're going to do the
Yeah,
shirt thing too,
Richard's
Andrew?
getting the T-shirt, and
Okay, awesome.
get me his info, and we can meet up at.
We will. Eric's a close second. I don't know. Eric Addison. I mean, you might want if you've got a spare.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Done. Two T-shirts.
So 25% off. Thank you, Jim. Thank you for sponsoring us. Oh, Eric has a shirt.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it's only one. There you go.
All right. Well, we have new shirts. This is the newer version of it. So if you want one of those, let me know.
Cool.
Right. And just in closing here, we're going to close off that. We'll just do a quick.
I'm just going to play what.
Big thanks to
yeah,
Lucid.
Thanks to Lucid. Thanks to everyone.
Again,
I'm going to play the opening
because of you.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing the opening video to take us out, and then we'll be out. So we'll end the stream at the end of that. We'll go to the thingy at the top. So,
and thank you, Jim, for coming on as a sponsor. We'll be updating our banner and all that stuff, and every show from now on, we'll be showing appreciation for that. So, thank you again, Jim.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for everybody for showing up and listening to us blabber on.
Yeah. So, and with that, goodbye.
See ya.
Oh.